Welcome to TalkFCB and welcome back here to the channel, guys. And in today's video, it is a big one because right throughout the summer so far, we have been talking about Barcelona's possible plans this summer that may have included Griezmann, it may have included Neymar. But in today's video, we are going to be breaking down potentially an unbelievable move from Barcelona this summer in terms of those players. Because what we're going to be doing today is discussing Griezmann, we're going to be discussing Neymar, and it really does need some explaining, breaking it down, really crunching those numbers, because in today's video, on the agenda, it's not just Griezmann, it's not just Neymar. We are going to be talking about them both, as in Neymar and Griezmann potentially joining Barcelona this summer at the same time, and that for me, financially, is massive. Because, quite sensationally, over the past few days, both Cat Radio and Sport in the local media in Barcelona, they have made sensational claims that this summer, Barcelona have not chosen to go down the Griezmann route, they've not chosen to go down the Neymar route, because all summer long we've been thinking Griezmann or Neymar. Which one is it going to be? But Cat Radio and Sport right now say that Barcelona, they've decided they want both Griezmann and Neymar Jr. And before we kick off the numbers in today's video, what I have to point out straight away is the fact we've already signed one major player this summer already. It can sometimes be forgotten because of course the deal was technically agreed and completed several months ago, but it does technically take place this summer, and that is regarding Frenkie de Jong. Already this summer, we have spent there around 75 million euros to sign Frenkie de Jong from Ajax Amsterdam. He's going to be coming in this summer, and that does have to be counted for here when we're doing the calculations. So Frenkie de Jong signed, completed, done deal, a big one there at 75 million euros. Then you've got Antoine Griezmann, 120 million euros. That's his release clause right there. Barcelona are fully expected on July the 1st to pay that release clause in its entirety. And what you also have to note there about Spanish release clauses and the way they work in terms of transfers is the fact that Barcelona there will have to stump up 120 million euros there and then. The full amount in its entirety will have to be deposited there to release Griezmann from his contract, because sometimes in deals you can pay in installments, you can pay 50 million now, you can pay 50 million the next summer, things can be agreed between the two clubs, but with release clauses, if you want to pay it, it's going to have to be there, 120 million up front in full for Antoine Griezmann. And then of course you've got the fee for Neymar Jr., which would be a modest around 220 million euros, but it could be anything beyond that too. It could be 250, we've even heard 300 million euros in the French media, and of course, it might not necessarily be all cash. It may be a significant player, it could be two significant players, and then 100 million euros in cash as well. What we're going to say there for Neymar right now is around 230 million euros, because then, with Griezmann and with Neymar, you're talking there around 350 million to sign the two in potential transfer fees. And if you add that, of course, to Frenkie de Jong's fee, which has already been agreed and already been done, that would be there for de Jong, for Griezmann, and for Neymar Jr. That would be there around 425 million euros in transfer fees alone to bring in those three big names. And the first thing that I do have to tell you here with regard to our other business this summer, if you're going to sign Neymar, if you're going to sign Griezmann in the same window at the same time, you can definitely count out Matthias de Ligt, because if you want to sign Neymar, if you want to bring in Griezmann for those big amounts, we simply cannot afford any more big signings alongside Frenkie de Jong. So Matthias de Ligt would not be joining Barcelona, we wouldn't be able to afford the transfer fee, we certainly wouldn't be able to afford the wages, as we're going to come on to now. Because we have to remember here, it's not just about those big transfer fees. Of course, they're going to catch the headlines, they're the largest amounts, they're the big money there that we're talking about in transfer fees, around 300 there, and 25 million euros for Griezmann and Neymar together. But it's ultimately there, the wages of those two players, which is going to hit us, Barcelona, the very hardest. Because quite frankly, it's our wage bill that's been the real crippling factor in our finances over the past few years, because we have right now far too many high earners on our wage bill, really taking up the majority of our budget every single season is that wage bill. And that right now is my biggest concern, because by signing Griezmann and by signing Neymar Jr., you'd also be making there two of the highest paid players coming to our club. That would effectively be taking place this summer. They'd be coming in. Of course, you got Messi at the top of the wage bill, no questions asked at all. But underneath there, Griezmann coming in, Neymar coming in, they'd be second, they'd be third. In terms of the highest earners at Barcelona, two massive players there. Because Antoine Griezmann, he currently earns 25 million euros per year with Atlético Madrid. And according to reports, if he came to Barcelona, he would actually be making a pay cut this summer. He would earn at Barcelona, reportedly, 18 million euros per season. But even so, that still works out there at very nearly 350,000 euros per week there for Antoine Griezmann in salary. And when you look at Neymar Jr., it's even higher than that, because right now he earns 36 million euros per season with PSG, which is nearly 700,000 euros per week. But at the same time, he is desperate to return to Barcelona, and apparently Barcelona are saying you are going to have to lower those wage demands in order to make your return, and apparently Neymar would be willing to do so. But even so, it would still take, reportedly, the offer that Barcelona would give him would be the same as when he was here in 2017, 22 million euros per season, which there works out still at 425,000 euros per week for Neymar Jr. So quite frankly there, with Griezmann and with Neymar coming into the club, the massive transfer fees, but you'd also be adding 775,000 euros every single week there to your wage bill, which right there is huge, huge money, massive money added to our wage bill, which is already completely unmanageable. And then you also have to factor in Frenkie de Jong. We cannot keep forgetting that. He's another player that's going to be coming in, adding to the wage bill. He's another player there who's going to reportedly earn this season 10 million euros at the very minimum, because he's also got the potential of a further 6 million euros, which is going to be available in variables linked to appearances, linked to trophies in his wage agreement. So the very minimum that Frenkie de Jong is going to earn this season is 200,000 euros per week. So you add all that together, de Jong, Griezmann, Neymar coming into the club, that is going to equate there to 975,000 euros added there to our weekly wage bill. That is nearly there, an extra 1 million euros in a single summer with three big players coming in. That is massive. That is colossal money here. And we can't forget also, yes, you've got de Jong, yes, you've got Griezmann, Neymar there added to our forward line, but let's also not forget, we've also got priority at left back. We need to bring somebody in that left back area, and we also need to bring somebody in, most likely as a backup goalkeeper this summer too. And even if those two players came in as free transfers, they would still come in on that wage bill, and it would still add to that even more so this coming summer. So with regard to the possibility there of signing Neymar, of signing Griezmann, which of course would be unbelievable in terms of the outright footballing abilities of these two players, they're incredibly exciting. They're brilliant attacking players. They get any football fan off their seat, and that's what it's all about. Entertainment. They would bring that to FC Barcelona, but at the same time, financially, it would cripple the club unless you had a significant clear out. And I mean here, you need a massive clear. I'm not talking about squad players. I'm not talking about backup players. I am talking here about big names being forced out of Barcelona and really raising some massive transfer funds and also clearing that wage bill, because that is what we'd have to do. If the board really do want to go out and sign Griezmann, Neymar, in addition there to Frenkie de Jong, we have to see major sales, and certainly there you would need big action, because what you need to do is basically raise a serious amount of money in terms of transfer fees. You'd need to get in several big transfer fees in there to raise that capital to generate the kind of funds to bring in Neymar and Griezmann, because also you'd need to balance the book to really abide by UEFA's financial fair play rules, which certainly at the moment Manchester City, PSG, they've all been in trouble in the past few seasons simply because they're spending too much money. And you'd also need to find there just an extra 1 million per week in your wage bill to accommodate the likes of Griezmann, de Jong and also Neymar Jr. And certainly to do that, there has to be exits, like I say. I'm talking Felipe Coutinho, whether he's sent to PSG as part of the Neymar deal, maybe you'd sell him on to another club. You'd need to get big money there for Felipe Coutinho, and ultimately there you'd also save a big amount in terms of his wages every week. Then there's Malcolm, also in the front line. You'd expect us there to try and reclaim the 40 million euros we spent on him just last summer, and of course there have been reports that basically say that they've told Malcolm to find a new club this summer. Then of course you're even throwing out names like Ousmane Dembele. Could he be placed on the transfer list? Could he be used as one one of those players to generate the big money you'd need to make these moves happen. Then Ivan Rakitic, another player who could command a decent transfer fee this summer, the last possible chance really to get a good fee for Rakitic given his age, but at the same time he's earning great money. He's on a great contract, a long contract at Barcelona, and for that reason he doesn't want to leave, and that is one of our big problems. Too many players on too higher wages. That is what is crippling the club right now. Samuel Umtiti, another player there who could get a big transfer fee, but at the same time, if you don't go and sign De Ligt, if you don't bring in another centre-back because you want to go out and sign Griezmann and Neymar, can you then be selling somebody like Umtiti? Can you lose that kind of presence from your centre-back if you're not bringing another one in? And of course, one more player there, a big name who could leave this summer is Nelson Semedo. There are reports right now, given that he's attracted interest this summer from other clubs, there are some reports that say Barcelona are looking into the possibility of bringing in Dani Alves on a free transfer and then using Semedo to really generate there some transfer funds. And then aside from those bigger names as well, there's some squad players who could be leaving this summer, the likes of Jasper Cillessen, there's Ortola as well, who's coming back from loan, Andre Gomez, Rafinha, Denis Suarez, those kind of players who could be leaving and could also there generate some funds and get some money off the wage bill. But is it enough? Because when you look at the players we have, technically there is a chance that you could generate the amount of money you'd need to go out and sign Griezmann, and with Neymar there is a way that somehow you could maybe find a way of balancing the books, but I still cannot see this happening. Personally, I would not trust this board to make this deal happen on a safe level. And what I mean by that is, you look at what we have right now, you look at the players that we'd need to sell, the amount of money there you'd need to generate to actually bring in these two players and actually keep the club financially stable, and I just wouldn't trust the board to do it. We're only getting 25 million for Andre Gomez. We don't get the best out of our players in terms of player sales. We never have. Certainly under this board, they don't generate that kind of money, and that's why for me, I don't trust them with this squad overhaul. I don't see them being able to generate the funds, generate the wage bill. I think right now they put us in this mess. They've offered players massive wages, and I just don't think they could do it. I don't think they can make it possible, and I don't think they could do it and keep the club financially stable. But again, I wouldn't exactly rule out this board making the deals for Neymar and for Griezmann happen, because I don't actually think right now they're too worried about the financial side. All they want to do right now is make a statement. Sign Neymar, sign Griezmann. If you pay enough money, you will get those players, and maybe later on they'll think about the consequences. But right now, the blood is going to the head. They're looking at Neymar, they're looking at Griezmann. They're not too worried right now about those big financial issues, and certainly we have to be careful, because priority is always here about keeping the club in a stable condition. Financially stable, do not rock the boat, do not put us in a difficult position, and that has to be the message here. If you can make the deal happen, if you can do it, go ahead. Sign Neymar, sign Griezmann, if you can financially do it. But looking at these numbers here, looking at the players that we have, and the massive amount of money there you'd have to generate to bring them both in, I still believe it's very difficult. And certainly, do you trust this board to make it happen, and make it happen safely? I'm not so sure. So please leave your thoughts in the comments down below, guys. Of course Neymar, of course Griezmann. It does create massive interest and so much excitement right throughout the Barcelona fan base. But at the end of the day, when you sit down here, when you crunch those numbers, what are your feelings with regard to both of them signing for the club this summer? Do you trust the board? Do you think Bartomeu could make this happen? Let me know in the comments down below. And of course, I'll be back soon with more videos. Make no mistake about it. But until next time, as always, Visca El Barça.